out there.
That's all right. I'm trustworthy of it. Okay. All right. We are today at the Ephrata Elks Lodge. Me and Paul. It's episode 35 of the Retro Bar podcast. And our guests today are Bob and Kari, members of, and I'm assuming they have other titles, of the Elks Lodge. So I'm going to let them sort of we'll start with Kari, ladies first. Don't be nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. Are you from the local area originally?
Yes, I graduated from Ephrata in 1981.
Oh, okay.
And I've been an Elk member for over 20 years. I'm currently the treasurer. I've been the treasurer for the past 10 years.
Well, that's very interesting. And is that a voted-in position?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
somebody had to put their trust into you.
I've also held many other positions. I've gone up through our chairs up to the exalted ruler, which is the leader of the Elks. And I held that position for 2 years.
Well, that sort of surprised. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the Elks. I mean, I guess in today's world, but a woman being the exalted leader, like, is that a new thing?
I was the second woman to be the exalted ruler here in Ephrata, of Ephrata. I think it was around, is it 1995?
He's like your cue card out there.
It was like 1995, I believe, when women could start,
96.
could hold positions,
Okay.
be members.
All right. Well, that's sort of an honor to look back on. All right. Well,
We gotta go back here for just a second. 1981. You graduated from Ephrata.
Yes.
My wife graduated from Ephrata in 1980. Sharon Kensinger was her
Oh, yeah, I know
name.
who she is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he was counting. He was just.
Yeah,
Yeah, I asked
Yeah. Who's still playing football tonight?
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
All right, and Bob, you, I seem to somehow know you also graduated from Ephrata.
I did, 82, and I've been a member at the Ephrata Lodge for 38 years.
Wow.
When I joined, you had to be in a suit, tie. On a Friday and Saturday night, you would come into this place with a suit,
Oh, really?
at least a jacket on.
Right. Wow.
No women were allowed to join back then. So, but they were allowed here,
Okay.
and this bar room was full every Friday and Saturday night. We were Ephrata Elks Lodge 1933. Now we are Ephrata Reading 115.
I noticed that on your Facebook page. So you were sort of merged with them.
Correct. They merged with us. We had to take their number, and what that means is there's 2,000. Do you know how many? 2,800.
2,100 Elk lodges in the United States.
In the United States. Every time an Elk Lodge gets a charter, they are given the next number. So it goes 1, 2, 3.
So there is an Elks Lodge number 1.
Yes. We were 1933. Now we're 115. Reading was their charter dates back to February 4th, 1889.
Yeah. Okay.
And ours was July 7th, 1954. So that's where we get our numbers.
Right.
And
Where is Elks Lodge number 1?
New York.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Yep, New York.
New York.
Now the Elks,
So what you're located on Akron Road.
170 Akron Road.
170 here in Ephrata.
Yes.
It has a huge, beautiful property.
17 acres.
It is
Yeah.
beautiful up here. It's absolutely. It's all the parking is fantastic.
Yeah. It is beautiful.
Outside events, you have beautiful covered
We have a pavilion.
pavilion.
Yeah, we have a pavilion with a bar outside.
Bathrooms.
Yep, bathrooms. And we rent that out to, anybody who's interested in renting it. We have a lot of functions here outside.
Yeah.
We have dog days every August. We have Back in Black every June. We have a St. Patty's Day event upstairs in our ballroom. And our ballroom upstairs, we just got it renovated.
Oh, really?
And it's
Okay.
beautiful.
Yes.
It's
I've
beautiful.
been up there, and it was a long time ago for like a wedding reception.
Yep.
I think my first high school reunion was upstairs here.
Yeah,
Probably.
we do a lot of those. We do a lot of those, but it is really beautiful.
It's a beautiful property. Like 30 years ago, I was married to my wife, and we had a reception here.
Did you?
Yeah,
That's neat.
in the banquet hall. I
That's
couldn't
neat.
told you what it looked like back then, as far
Right,
as like
right,
the walls, and,
right.
but it was a great place.
Well, it was becoming a little outdated, so we really updated everything, and it's just the colors, it's just, I don't know, so much brighter and more up to date than what it was. So we're excited about that. We're going to start promoting that a little bit more too.
And one thing you did in September that I thought was really cool, twofold. Number one, you burn flags like the traditional
Yeah.
burning. But
No, you don't burn flags.
You retire them.
You retire
them,
I'm
yeah.
saying, yeah, right.
People
That's
get
not the
upset
right-
about
that's-
that.
That's right. That's not the right wording. I'm not. So, but before that, you worked with the Boy Scouts to create a new.
Flag retirement pit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, right, right.
Well, as long as I've been
I
a
wasn't
member,
sure what the term was going to be.
as long as I've been a member, we've been retiring flags. We are one of the only places locally that can really do it. I guess the AMVETs used to have one, but with being in the borough, they didn't want them burning, you know.
Oh, okay.
So the AMVETs, the Legion, and the DFW, the people all come here with their flags. We had 5,000 flags back in
Yeah, there
October.
was somebody from the VFW
Five
who told
thousand.
me that.
We had Kelly's food giveaway that day.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, I wasn't able to come up here and witness that
Yeah.
because that I really want to
It
see.
is really
You
something
have
to
flag.
see.
You have a flag that you fly at your house, wherever you, and it is
Becomes
worn.
tattered,
And what are
right.
you supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
Get a hold of you guys.
Yep, yep,
And you can retire it properly.
yes.
With dignity.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
dignity. It's a really neat ceremony. So what had happened, we were using where we use our same place where we make barbecued chicken, which is kind of not respectful to the flag in my book. So we have been working on this. Bob and I have been working on it for a long time. And we found a Boy Scout who wanted to get his Eagle Scout
Oh,
award.
yeah.
So to get his recognition for an Eagle Scout, he had to do a project. So he was supposed to man it from beginning to end.
Mhm.
And he had to do the drawings. I mean, I believe he had a mentor who's an architect who helped him draw it. And then he worked with people who are bricklayers, but he actually did a lot of the work himself. And then
Oh,
we
that's
had like a
neat.
little dedication ceremony for him. And then we did the flag retirement, there were about 70 people here. And the coolest thing happened. A bald eagle came during the ceremony and sat up on our cell tower the whole time we were
Oh,
doing
wow.
the ceremony.
Whole time.
I just thought that was a little,
Oh, yeah. More than
Very
coincidence.
yeah, more than coincidence. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was really neat. Yeah, so that's really something is the flags. We usually do that maybe 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And we try to advertise it in the shopping news and the local papers so that people can see it. We always invite all of the other clubs. And we always invite the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and anybody else who'd like to come.
So the public is invited. It's
Yes,
not
public
like
is invited.
Some clubs would only allow certain people to
No.
be members of the club.
It's
And
open
you
to the
guys,
public.
That is public.
Yes. Yes, so that was one of our big accomplishments this year. We're really excited about that.
And one of the things that I never gave any thought to is when you go to a cemetery to visit your past family members or friends, there's flags at the people that serve,
Yes.
right? And they wear down, I would imagine, fairly quickly because they're very small and they're not made real well.
And they come here.
And yeah, so you have somebody taking care of a cemetery thinking, what am I gonna do with all these flags that
Yes.
really need to be updated?
Yes,
And that's the perfect way.
we do them all. And like I said, the ceremony is really something to see. They actually take all of those flags off of the wooden stake and they fold them, well, they hang them over the edges, like around the edges, and then they do them in a certain way. There's a
Okay.
whole process on
Yeah.
how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really neat.
It starts out with, they take one flag and cut the red stripes, white stripes, and they'll explain what the stripes mean, and then they'll retire the white stripes, red stripes, and then the stars. And then they'll do all the rest of the
That's
flags.
just the beginning.
That's
the
just the
opening.
beginning, just to,
But they usually have veterans that do it.
Yeah.
They usually ask the veterans
Yeah.
to come forward and do that for the ceremony. It is really cool.
And I'm sure the veterans, the stories and the history that
Right.
this place has, amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. People always think we're not a veterans organization because the other organizations, the Legion, the AMVETS, the VFW, they are veterans organizations and they're involved with the state and the government. we're a fraternal order. And so we're more of a private, but we're still a veterans organization. But we don't get any kind of funding from the government.
I was actually going to ask
all.
about, is the Elks based on the veterans, or are you more like, like the Freemasons or the Shriners, or, I don't know, like, you're a fraternal order.
Right, but it's just been the vets are on the top of our list.
Well, no, and that's good. I'm not, but you're like,
Yeah, we help, the Elks helps everybody, not just veterans.
Right.
I think maybe that's where the difference is. The other ones are considered veterans organizations.
Right.
We aren't considered a veterans
you
organization.
can pick and choose
Right.
who you want to benefit.
Right, but the Grand Lodge of Elks wants the veterans to be,
Okay. And that's-
they have a little saying, it says, so long as there are veterans, the Benevolent Protective Order of Elks will never forget them. That's kind of in all of our paperwork and everything that we stand by.
I mean, we donate to sports teams up here local, the high school teams, fire companies, ambulances. I mean, we donate to everybody.
Yeah, right.
Everybody, yeah.
So,
And just recently, I guess, I don't know if you saw, but the Keystone military families, the Stockings for Soldiers that Cindy Mellinger does. Yeah, she had done a release that we're going to be putting out. They're going to be taking pictures and stuff because we donated money to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool too.
That I thought that when I joined was very interesting. It wasn't just vets, and not that they don't deserve that,
Right.
but there is a lot of organizations that take care of them. And although they're on your list and you take care of them,
Yeah.
the amount of other donations that you give is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, the youth.
Right,
It's huge.
we try to do, that's a
You
big
guys
part of the
do a
Elks
lot
too.
for the youth.
They have a
And-
list, we have a list of
Mhm.
all the people that we donate to, and youth activities is one of them. They're really strong on that. We used to have soccer teams that used to practice down here, because we have the grounds for it. I'm not sure whatever happened, but they don't practice there anymore, but we still have it available, and we don't charge them for anything like that, Sometimes, we're really close with the Boy Scouts. When I was the Exalted Ruler here, all of the people that belong here would go out and clean the grounds in April because, you're getting to springtime and there's a lot of stuff that needs cleaned up, sticks and stuff. We can't mow the yard with their sticks. And so I called the head of the Boy Scouts here in Ephrata, and they started coming now once a year. They probably bring about 40 Boy Scouts, and they can get their everyday good deed badge or something. And we make them macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, and all the older people bring their trucks with their trailers, and the kids go and get them all and put them in, and we usually burn them then. But it's a big help for us because I would say our median age here is probably 50, So I know a lot of the people can't physically be getting up and down all the time and bending down to pick up the sticks.
Yeah.
So it became an annual tradition now. We do that all the time with the Boy Scouts.
Well, it gives them something to do.
Yeah.
Gives them lunch.
Yeah, and sometimes they come and camp out back. As they put their tents up and they have their little party out here and they have their family picnic outside at the pavilion, and we donate all that to them because of all they do for us.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
the
a win-win.
donations is just amazing, and like the use of the facilities, the police department, we had our retirement, myself and two other officers retired, and we had that out here.
Yeah.
It outside event, it was through COVID, and it was everything, all the rules were followed,
Yeah.
and it just was, it was amazing.
Yeah,
Really, it's the support that we get from you
Going-
guys.
going back to the veterans, last year we sponsored 3 soldiers that went to Guantanamo Bay. One's a local police officer here in Ephrata, and every month the lodge would get stuff together and we would ship it down to them, to the 3 gentlemen. And we did that for a whole year. I think it was Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, we sent a bigger box.
And their birthdays, we knew when their birthdays were.
And it was funny because 2 of the soldiers said, "Who's Ephrata Elks? Why are we getting these packages
Right.
from the Ephrata Elks?"
They were surprised, but they were happy.
Yeah. And here it turns out the one's grandpa was a member here. And they came and they actually gave us a flag from Guantanamo Bay.
That flew over Guantanamo Bay, yeah.
So,
And they told us how special it was. They gave us a certificate and they told us how wonderful it made them feel. They said we gave them enough stuff that they could share with the other guys. And they said they started getting excited to get these boxes on a regular basis because, and I think like beef jerky and
Oh, yeah,
different things
that's-
that they don't have. When they came here, they were very grateful. I mean, they said, we were just so happy to have stuff. And then somebody asked them, they said, because they were worried about chips, like we gave them chips.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, oh, I was scared they were gonna get smashed. And he said, smashed chips are better than no chips.
And
it
you gotta
said-
chew them anyway.
And he said, they're not as smashed as you would expect.
Mhm.
And she asked him, if you could have anything you wanted, like what would you want us to send you? You know what he said? Turkey Hill iced tea.
Oh.
That was, I guess that's what they miss the most, I don't know. But yeah, that was really heartwarming also. That was really, really neat.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons when I talked to Bob, like, I'm gonna do a podcast here, can we do that? Because there's only, I think, a few people in your group that really know exactly everything that you do. And not that we have this huge following, but to explain
There's
it.
10 people learning.
And we keep trying to get it out there, and I think sometimes people are scared because, like we talked about earlier, they think if you're not a member, you're not allowed to come.
Yeah.
That is not true. Anybody can drive up this driveway, come in, and say, I'd like to see what the Elks is about, or I'd like to try dinner here. We would, you're
Yeah.
more than welcome.
Yeah, and
It's-
but that is a confusing thing.
It is.
for a lot
People
of-
get scared, and I think people are scared to come up the driveway because we're back in here so far. They
Yes.
think they're trespassing or they
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Actually, our grounds are considered clean and green, which means that it's more or less like a park. People can pull in here and walk their dog. They can take a walk on the property. It's open to the public.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah, so people can do that. Some people do.
Yeah.
But I just feel people don't know about us.
Yeah. I do like the sign out front. It's a nice sign, big sign, showing what you have.
We
there.
always put everything on the sign that's going on. We'll be getting a new sign, that
Okay.
says Ephrata Reading 115, and I think it'll be lit up a little nicer and a little more updated than that one. But yeah, that we had actually a Boy Scout did that as an Eagle project
okay.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the building was here, this grounds was considered Gerhardt Park.
Oh, okay.
The grandfather of Lloyd, the mayor of Ephrata, and his brother Jerry, it was their grandparents that had this park. And they deeded it off to the Elks, so.
And nothing else gets built here. I mean, like, there's no housing development
No,
coming in.
no,
It's just
It's ours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one quick question. If somebody rents out your upstairs, say for a wedding reception, do they have to use food from here or can that be catered from outside?
Well, we have a catering here. We have
Okay.
catering here.
But so you prefer
we
or actually
prefer-
demand
well, we
that
would
they
prefer
use
that
your
they would-
food?
Go through our catering. I think it's a little more expensive if you're gonna bring an outside caterer.
Well, it probably would be.
Because we
but
want you to
I
use
just,
ours.
some people,
But we actually, it's funny you asked that because after renovating the banquet hall upstairs, we are redoing our contract, that we do with people when they want to rent it. And we've talked about some of these questions, and I don't think everything's finalized yet on
Okay.
exactly how we're
and,
going to do it.
it really doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But some people, okay, I'd like to do this, but I'd like to have
Right.
my brother-in-law's catering do it.
Right.
So I didn't know what the rules were.
And I believe they will end up working with people to do something.
Yeah.
I know when we have, like, if people rent the pavilion outside for like a family reunion, everybody brings their own food at a
Right,
family
right.
reunion.
Yeah,
So, we don't have a problem with
Right.
that. We just rent the facilities, and if you want a bar or you want the bar open, they would have a bartender out there for you, if that's what you'd prefer. One of the companies actually has their company picnic here,
Oh.
and they love it. They come every year. I just think it's exciting because they put up bouncy houses, and
Yeah.
there's a million kids here, and they love it. They said this is the greatest place to have, a company picnic.
all right. It's
And they don't have to worry
not
about
very
the
formal.
we have a little playground out there, we have a volleyball net, we have quoits, we have horseshoes, there's all kind of fun things to do, and I think they feel safe with the kids, like they're not going out on the road or they're not close to the street.
Right.
So yeah, that's always a big thing too.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, we're really gonna try and promote our new banquet hall, we think it's
Well, and
really
again,
amazing.
not everybody in Ephrata or the surrounding area has been around here their whole life.
Yeah.
And there's this thing called the Elks, but they don't really know
They
that.
don't
know.
I mean,
No.
they don't know that maybe they can have a party up there
Right.
or outside.
Or, and you could always go to a local park and you could do the same thing, you could reserve the pavilion, but you can't have any alcohol there.
Right.
Not that you need alcohol or family then.
No, but sometimes,
Sometimes
like,
you do.
Sometimes you do.
But anyway,
It's better that way.
You're gonna have to edit that out.
like for your
there's no
retirement,
end.
everybody
Yeah.
wants to have a drink with you.
So you can have a drink and this is a place you could legally do it. You rent
Yes.
something like this, you could legally have that,
Yes.
you know. You couldn't do that at a local park for a lot of
That's
places.
correct.
The only thing, you cannot bring outside alcohol
Right.
in.
You can't
I
bring
mean,
your
everything
own.
has to be
Well,
purchased.
you have plenty of it here.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
has to be purchased.
There's laws, you know, with
Right, well, yeah,
PLCB and
and that's
everything. You
everywhere,
can't,
I mean, that's
yeah, you
not
can't allow
just
people to
your
bring their
rule,
own
that's it.
alcohol.
No.
Mhm.
I did write down a few things that I
Oh.
thought were interesting.
Then-
You know, we have our 20 by 30 foot flag, our big American flag. You've seen that, Paul? And we carry it in the Ephrata parade, the New Holland parade, almost any parade. We've gone to cancer relay benefits and done the flag. We've done it in at the Barnstormers. I want to tell you, the very first time I carried the flag, you could cry. It is that neat. When we carried it in the Ephrata parade, I had no idea what to expect.
Right,
And it's not that heavy because you have 22 people. It takes 22 people to
It
hold
takes
on.
lunch, yeah.
And you're going down the streets and you see these old veterans who can hardly stand, getting up to stand,
Yep.
and they salute, and it's just, and they take their hats off. It is just,
yeah.
and the people hoot and holler.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just amazing how good it makes you feel
Yeah.
when you're doing it.
Nice.
And little kids even, you know, the people get their kids to stand up. It's like, wow. You know, it really makes you, it's heartwarming.
Yeah,
It really
yeah,
is.
it is.
So we help do that every year. Every year we do that. That's really exciting. I wanted to say that our Christmas baskets are coming up in December. Every year since I've been a member, the Elks does a charity type benefit for families that need food. And we call them our Christmas baskets. Not everybody knew what the Christmas basket was. Well, what we do is we have cards that we send out to all our members. We ask them to please let us know anybody who needs a Christmas dinner, or they feel, you know, and they fill out the card where they live. And what happens is we work with one of the local businesses, and we tell them how many families we have, how many people are in the family, you know, how old, like if there's teenagers, kids. They actually prepare a whole box that will feed the whole family. So if they give you like a turkey, a gallon of milk, loaves of bread, you know, onions and celery to make stuffing. They give you a pumpkin pie. They give you vegetables. It's a whole thing. So if you have 16 people, they give you 3 boxes or
Okay.
enough to do all
Yeah.
16 people. And then sometimes we ask, if you're an Elk member and you sponsored these people, will you take it to their homes and deliver it? If they don't, we do have Elk members who go around.
Okay.
I've gone around already and delivered these baskets. So if you know anybody who needs any kind of help, they can call here and say, we need a basket. We do it for anybody,
Okay.
anybody. So
And that isn't restricted to Ephrata Borough, or, I mean, you can't,
Well,
obviously you don't go to,
we like it within,
Lancaster,
right,
right.
within the vicinity, you know,
Okay.
Denver, you
Right.
know, Calico area, you know, up towards Brickerville, you know, just like
Okay.
New
around
Holland.
anywhere in the area,
Yeah.
yeah, New Holland. We tried, because I don't know anybody else that does that.
but
and it's-
actually, funny you mentioned that. I came up with this own little thing on my own, just me and my own little idea. But for every paid trivia night I did in the whole year, I called it the piece of pie. And I used, this is really weird, but 3.1, I put $3.14 pie in this pie, you know, in a kitty.
Sure.
And by the end of the year, I'll have like $800 in there.
Wow.
And so what I did, like I wanted to do a very similar thing to that, just me. And I got a hold of Rod Redcay from Real Life in Denver. And I'm meeting with him Tuesday morning to pick out, you know, I figured if I do $100 to $200 a family, I could do anywhere from, because I already gave $200 to this breast cancer person, so I got like $600 that I'd like to divvy up, but not just $10 a piece, you know, pick 3 to 6 families and make it worthwhile. But he being the head of the Real Life thing in Denver, has the knowledge and of families that need that kind of thing. But I am going to meet with him on Tuesday, so very much smaller scale, but similar kind of deal.
But it's really, people are very grateful.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
it's, you know, we try to get the word out there that we do this. We ask people to let people know,
yeah.
you know, and just let us know. I mean, I think we have to know a week ahead of time at least so they can prepare
Right,
the boxes
right,
properly. Or they can pick them up here, you know, but it's a big drive. It's a big fun drive.
Yeah,
It's
well,
really,
that's, yeah.
and all of our members donate money
Oh,
to cover these
cover it,
expenses, which is amazing
Yeah.
also. We have, since we've merged with Reading, we have 455 members, but that many people don't come to the Elks on a
No.
regular basis.
Well, right.
There might be 100 people who come, maybe not even that.
45.
We always say that 10% come,
10% will
so it should
come.
be like 45, there's 45 people who come all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Well,
myself included.
Yeah.
And Bob.
And Reevestown AA, for instance, they have like 4,200. So they're packed all the time, so,
Well,
You
right,
fig-
but
you
they're
figure they're
drawing out of a
10%.
much bigger pool.
right,
Yeah.
Right,
so.
right. But let me see what else, I'm trying to see what else I wrote here.
About the veterans, not the very first
Hospital.
hospital and
Bob can say that.
what did he say about the
No, but
hospital?
Bob can say that, I don't know.
Yeah, we gave the United States government, I shouldn't say we, the Elks organization gave the first Veterans Hospital to the United States government. And that was back in 1874, I think they said it was. But, so, are we a veterans organization? We donate a lot.
Right, right.
The Elks also have a
Money-wise.
scholarship program. We have a scholarship program, nobody seems to know about it. Every year, I send packets to the guidance counselors of Ephrata, Garden Spot, Calico, and Warwick. Those are our surrounding. And what they do, they give, you could win $60-some thousand in scholarships. It's amazing. And it's not that hard to do. You just go on the website, sign up for a scholarship. It's September 1st is when they open. They usually close in November. So I'm waiting to see, but the Ephrata Elks, Ephrata Reading, can give 3 boys and 3 girls. We pick 3 boys and 3 girls, and we send them to the district. Then the district looks over them, and they decide on how many they do, but then they do so many. But even if you get to the state level, you can win $1,000 a year. Towards, There's just so much there that they give, and people aren't aware of it. I'm constantly trying to make people aware of
And
this.
what, to get them scholarships, must they write an essay, or is it just based on their grades?
Basically, it's an application. It has your grades. You turn that in. If there is an essay, it's just a small,
Okay.
nothing big. Sometimes they actually give you a title of if you could have dinner with somebody. Historically, who would you have dinner with?
Okay.
Something like that. It's always different, but it's not. They don't ask for pages and pages of an essay.
Yeah,
It's just like a 1-page type thing.
Every year, the Grand Lodge, which is in Chicago, gives Grand Lodge scholarship. And a girl from Lancaster County won it last year. So
Really?
she got $50,000.
But that's
Wow.
where it starts. Like it starts here at the local
Yeah,
lodge.
and
And they
And you
progress
go
it
they
through-
progress.
It's the district, the state, and then the national level. And if you would win, like Bob's saying, when they win, they pay for these seniors to go to another state for one of the conventions, and it's a big thing,
Yeah.
where they present them and they kind of keep up with them for their whole first year. It's exciting.
Yeah.
And nobody knows this, nobody realizes.
Well, and it amazes me, you would think in today's world, it would be so easy to let everybody on earth know about stuff.
Yeah.
And I always assume when I post something on Facebook, whether it be about the trivia or that free meal I did, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, once I do this, everybody on earth knows about this. Yeah, that is so far from the truth.
Yeah.
There are so many people who either they don't even have a computer, or if they do, they don't deal with Facebook.
Or they don't go on Facebook.
Right, and so I found the ad we put in the shopping news for that free meal probably drew way more people, possibly everybody that came for that free meal, over what I put on the computer.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it's way harder than it should be to get word out to
Yeah,
people.
you gotta kind of look to see what your market is
Yeah.
trying to get. The younger kids obviously are gonna,
Right?
you're gonna do a soccer game or something,
Right, yeah.
And then that's different than, like the food giveaway, absolutely.
When you said soccer, the Elks does a soccer shoot and a hoop shoot. It starts out at the local level, Ephrata, Calico, Warwick.
Okay.
Then we go to the district level. We are in the southeast district of the Elks. We had 3 people from the hoop shoot advance to the district level and then advance to the state level.
Oh, wow.
And then in soccer shoot, we had 4 that went the whole way.
Oh, that's
And then
that's encouraging for the
because
athletic
we are the
program.
ones that they started with, we try to donate or give something, like recently with the soccer shoot, we gave each of the families $100 to help cover their costs to go to like state college.
Yeah.
Where it took place, or just with the way gas is.
Well, and that is because it's neat for the kid, But if you gotta travel and stay, not everybody has disposable income.
That's
And-
exactly
and-
right.
And then they gotta pick, am I gonna not eat next week so my kid can do this?
Right.
No, that is a
We
nice
try, we
suggestion.
always try
Yeah.
to help, and if they need more than that, they can always let us know. You know, we have a lot of people who've come to us, you know, we've helped people fill their oil tanks already, you know, different situations like that. I mean, we are here to help people.
Now,
That's
how, obviously, you come about this money in some manner. Is it just based on memberships and food and drink you sell, or do you have other ways of having money?
It's
That-
mostly from
that's it?
just, we
Okay.
try. I mean, it's tough. Nowadays, it's really tough.
Yeah,
Fundraiser.
Yeah, we do fundraisers, different things to help, you know, to help us, but
yeah, this economy right now is
It's
not
tough.
very conducive to people handing over a bunch of money.
well, places like ours, just like the other location, you know, the VFW and the Legion, we're required to donate 60% of our gambling income for anybody that gambles. Now, during the pandemic, they stopped that, because, well, you couldn't
Right.
really be open. So I believe at the end so for the past 2 years, we are not required to donate 60%, but we've still been coming as close as we can to that.
Right.
We still try to donate as much as we can. I mean, anybody that comes to us, we try our darndest to help as much as we can
Oh,
in
yeah,
any way.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
and if we were all billionaires, that would be
Exactly,
fun.
exactly. The Elks we do have some programs that we have some grants that we can work towards. Sometimes it's a little rough trying to get them, they have strict rules, you know, on what you're gonna do it for. But a lot of times they wanna promote, they want you to get grants for like the homeless or veterans that are homeless or just, you
Yeah.
know, those kind of things that help in the community. So I keep trying to get as much as I can to help Ephrata, you know, or just the
Yeah.
local surrounding area.
But yeah, it ain't
So you
easy
have-
these days.
A whole list of things you do, like, throughout the year,
Yes,
the big things.
yes.
Okay? But then you have, and I learned this since I joined last June, and it's fantastic. The things you do on like a day-to-day basis when you're open. We were in here Saturday night, and it was so busy with different things going on from the time you walked in to the time you left. You know, and one of them was you had the door prizes, you had the turkey giveaway.
Yep,
you
we had a turkey
the
raffle.
Queen of Hearts.
Mhm.
And
And we
then
had
you
pick a prize bingo.
and then you had bingo, and then it was really cool because you could play or not play
Yeah,
any
you
one of
didn't
them
have to
things,
play, right, you don't have to, and you know, everybody who runs this, except for, well, not the bartender, but or the waitresses, but all the other people who are running these things are volunteers.
Yeah.
We're all volunteers, nobody else we don't get paid for
Yeah,
this, this
yeah.
is just us being volunteers. And we have a lot of people who do volunteer a lot of time. When we tell you I'm the treasurer, it's volunteer.
Right,
It's
yeah.
not, we don't get paid for what we do.
Right.
It's
And that's
neat to
very
see
honorable.
all the things that you do on like a daily basis.
Yeah.
And that bingo was full.
Yeah,
it
it is fun. Yeah.
Carrie's husband Craig and I mow and do
Oh,
work
yeah,
around the
yep,
17 acres.
17 acres.
Let me tell you, it takes a long time to
It
do
does.
17 acres.
But if
That
you
is-
come,
that's bigger than
if you come in
imagine.
the summer, like the spring and summer, it is so beautiful out here.
Mhm.
And they keep everything manicured, so beautiful. People come on, they say, this is gorgeous back here.
Yeah.
It really is. The
Yeah.
land itself is beautiful. And yeah, they do a good job taking care of it. It's a lot of work. And of course, you have trees that come down.
Right.
There's always something, the
Trees,
driveway needs
sticks.
repaved, and we can't always afford it. We have to work towards getting to that
Yeah.
point and saving up enough money
Yeah.
to do stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know? It's tough.
Yeah,
It's
and,
tough.
and that the donation program when you gamble or whatever you play the games, and some of that money goes to that.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
That helps great.
That's what it does,
That
yes.
helps that and helps the people in the community and
Yep.
like the turkey giveaway that you did. We didn't need a turkey, so we didn't play that part of the game.
Sure.
But you had so many turkeys that just about everybody that played got a turkey.
Yeah. And a lot of
the chances
people-
are pretty good about winning things here, which is
And a
pretty
lot of
amazing,
people are
'cause I don't
generous.
usually win.
A lot of people will take their turkeys and donate them back for something like 1 year we had the veterans here for a Thanksgiving dinner. And somebody who won turkey said, we're gonna donate them back. You know, we paid for the tickets and everything, but we don't need both of them, so I'm gonna donate one back. So we had enough turkeys donated back, we could have a whole Thanksgiving dinner for the vets, you
Well,
know,
yeah.
which
Without
was
really
really
costing
neat.
anything over and above what you
No.
bought the turkeys originally
Yeah.
for.
And prior to the pandemic, we always had a picnic outside for the veterans, and they would come from like Coatesville or Lebanon. And it was neat because they come on a bus, there was usually about 40 or 45 of them. And the one time we had a motorcycle club here that made like a tunnel with the flags that they had to walk through
Oh, yeah.
to get to the pavilion. And they were so grateful because some lady made all homemade pies, you know, for the event. And we had them in here for Thanksgiving one time, and we had like, everybody brought clothing and had it all nicely, we had it organized by sizes. Well, these people went crazy over this clothing.
Yeah.
This one man, he was so excited because there was a pair of shoes, and it was almost brand new. And he said, "Can I try those shoes on?" I said, "Sure." And he tried them on, and he goes, and he was all excited, he stood up, he goes, "Can I keep them on?" I said, "Yes, you may keep them on."
Yeah.
He was thrilled with this. But
Well,
the littlest gestures like that made
Well,
their
not
day.
everybody is, I mean, there's a lot of people who that means a hell of a lot to.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, these vets are in the Coastville Hospital all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't
get out.
They don't get out.
very often.
Yeah.
There's certain units or whatever they're called where we work with them and say, if they're allowed to come out,
Right.
can they?
Yeah.
And boy, and do they eat? They say I don't know what the one guy said to me. He goes, "I am so full," and he goes, "Think I can take my piece of pie home with me?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And I don't know what I said, and he goes, "That's not real food we get there."
Well, that is probably
he was
high.
happy for a home cooked,
Yeah,
real home cooked
yeah.
meal.
Yeah.
So that really is exciting too. Just so you know, at the Elks, our principles are charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity. Those are kind of what we go by.
That was part of my next question. So you have a hierarchy of people. So you said, you have the ruler. And so can you quickly kind of explain, because each one of them is a position.
Yeah, it
Right,
is.
and
It is.
it's really cool. But I can't explain it.
Bob, do you want to explain?
We'll start with the ER, the exalted ruler. He is,
It's like the president.
it's like the president. He's actually, in our statutes, is the CFO. He can oversee everything from the House Committee, trustees, and he does everything. He's supposed to do everything. It's hard, everything.
Right.
Like she said, everybody's a volunteer here.
But he oversees
He
everything.
oversees everything. Then we go to the leading night. If the ER goes away on vacation or something and something comes up, then the leading night is in charge.
So it's kind of like the vice president.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from there, we go down to the loyal knight. He is third in command.
Yeah, it's just a process. The Elks want you to go through each of these positions to work your way up to the exalted ruler. And each one of these is called esteemed leading knight, esteemed loyal knight, and esteemed lecturing knight. And so the exalted ruler station is called fidelity. The leading knights is charity. The loyal knights is justice. And the lecturing is brotherly love. So we each have something and that's what those are our rules. That's what we kind of live by.
Right.
Those are our standards.
So when you say you become, or like you did become exalted ruler, is that a 1-year term, a 4-year term, a lifetime term?
It's a 1-year term unless there's nobody to come up into your position. So when I was the exalted ruler, I was planning on doing it for a year. But what happened, the person that was going to be the vice president or come up behind me, they didn't feel ready. They didn't feel comfortable with doing it yet. And they said, "I'd like to have another year as, kind of the vice president because I don't feel comfortable." So I ended up doing it for 2 years. So it all depends.
Okay.
Sometimes you have somebody where, I know one time one of the vice president, whatever you call it, the leading knight, like they got sick. They had some health issues. So there was nobody to step up into the position. So then somebody said, "Well, I'll just do it for 2 years,"
Okay.
But that's kind of how, but they're supposed to be yearly, but.
They're supposed to be yearly, but my feeling is it would be good if the ER could be 2 years.
Yeah,
Once
because probably by the time you really get a feel for what you're doing, it
There you
comes
go.
up.
That's exactly
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So the first year, you kind of feel like, wow, I have a lot to do, and you're so crazy with it,
It's over.
and then it's over.
Yeah.
And I felt like, wow, I could have done better with this or that. So then when I got to do it the second year, it was much easier.
Well, right.
I felt like I knew what I could do and what some new things we could try, and you learn. But yeah, the second year was a lot easier than the first year.
And I'm sure that you could pass that on so much better to the next person coming up, like,
Oh, I
okay,
did.
I know how you feel. So now I've been in it 2 years and I can give you,
Well, you know what I did? Ask Bob. I went in my computer and I typed everything from our fiscal year is April 1st to March 31st. I made dates starting in April and tried to let him know everything that comes up all the time so that you're prepared and you can
Right.
think ahead.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things have to be planned ahead. 2 or 3 months in advance, you
Yeah.
need to be prepared.
Right.
And if you don't have something like that to go by or something to guide you a little bit, you don't know when we have this, when we have that, there's so
Yeah.
many different things.
No,
So
that's-
it was just, and I gave it to the next person too, just to kind of guide them and say, start getting ready in August, September for our Christmas drive, with
Right.
with the boxes. Because you need to be prepared to get the cards out to all of our members so they can start donating ahead of time,
Yeah.
You have to, it takes a little work.
Yeah, well, no, but now that you did that, now that that's laid out, other than changing dates.
Well, and now, Bob and I are considered PERs, which are past exalted rulers. So everybody in the organization, like when they know you're a PER, it's our responsibility to try and guide them and
Mentor
lead them
yeah.
and get involved. Like I still go to certain meetings that I really don't have to
Right.
go to.
Yeah.
But as a past exalted ruler, I think sometimes they need my guidance, or they might have questions that,
Yeah.
because they're newer or they're not familiar with how it operates, Bob and I are there and we can help them.
Yeah, well, yeah, you might as well share that as long as you have the time.
Sure.
One of the things that I learned also was the camaraderie in the members. Part of the meeting, you spent talking about not only the current members that may need help, that got sick, that are in the hospital or in their house and you can't get out, how can we help them, what do they need? That was amazing. And also the ones that have passed. Like, okay, we're gonna take a moment here and we're gonna recognize this person.
Yeah, we have a memorial service every December where we recognize anyone who passed away in the year, and there's like a service. It's really nice, and we invite the families of those people that have passed to come in and participate in the service.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Mhm.
Oh, and we have a deceased members board. When you come in the hallway, we have a really cool board. One of the guys
Yes.
made it, and it has everybody's name who was an elk and passed away.
Oh,
Has like
okay.
the year and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, we try to memorialize as much as we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I feel very honored that, an organization like this would step in and help. And like, what do you need? We're here for you.
Every
That's
one of our
amazing.
meetings, we have something called, a category called sickness and distress. And we always talk about, is there anybody, even in the community, in our membership, that we need to pray for, that we need to send a card to, anything they need, we try.
And that's not just vets, and there's nothing.
Oh, no, it's
against-
anybody.
Nothing against the rest of the organizations that are vet driven. This is, as much as you do for the vets, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm not a vet. My dad was, but I'm
Yeah, I'm
so,
not a vet either.
but I'm part of the organization, so if something happened, it's you guys, you're there, and that's pretty cool. Where some of the other ones might be, if you're not a vet, there's
Yeah.
not a lot we can do.
And we try to help, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, there was a thing where, with the electricity, when the electricity went so high in Ephrata,
Oh,
the borough,
Yeah.
and there, people were struggling, and there was so many things. We talked to Ephrata Area Social Services, and then we got somebody that needed help. So like we helped, we donated to help those people have their electric bill paid.
Yeah.
We try, as long as somebody lets us know.
Right.
Like I think I had read about it or, heard all the
Yeah.
commotion about it. So I started looking into it and saying, is there somebody we can support or help?
Right.
Not that we could help everybody, but even
Yeah.
just one family is better than not
Yeah,
helping
well,
at all.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
That's neat.
so we're always trying to help people.
Now, what, the Elks name, the elk part of the name, does that have a significance as opposed to the Moose Lodge or the Oriole Lodge or?
I don't know, that's a good question.
Like, how'd you pick your animal?
Well, and I'd have to go back and read some of the history, because when they first came about, they were called the Jolly Corkers or something.
Right.
And I don't know how, I'm not really sure of the history behind how it changed from Jolly Corkers.
Yeah, Jolly
To the
Corker
Elks.
sounds like a more fun place.
So I don't
Maybe it
know.
was too fun and they had to
Well,
change.
they talk about some of our readings that we do. You talk about like the elk is gentle. There's certain things that
Okay.
they kind of fit that in with the elk.
Right.
Right. The elk.
I mean, but there, I've heard over the, there's Moose Club, there's the
Mhm.
Orioles, there's
Mhm.
probably a dozen other animal kind of clubs.
That's a good question.
I never.
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to look it up, and I'm
All
going
right.
to, because that bothers me now. I should know the answer to that, or I should know what happened.
We'll talk about the membership just for a minute. I know, so there's a process with membership. The one thing that I liked about the membership part of it was, as a retired cop, I don't want to be hanging around or having a drink or whatever with I'm not sure the exact wording, but people I may have arrested,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it didn't go well,
Yeah.
or whatever the case is, and you vet that out. Like,
Yes.
that is,
yeah. You wanna talk about that, Bob?
We have a group that if you have a felony, you're not gonna get in. We do a vote. When we bring people in, we do a vote to see if they're.
The membership has to vote,
The
right?
membership has to vote.
So a lot of times, well, when you fill out an application, 2 members have to recommend you or sign up and say, yes, I know this person, or I feel this person would be a good member. Now, sometimes if somebody off the street comes in and says, I want to be a member, we try to learn a little bit more about them or find out if anybody knows them. We don't just let anybody walk in and say, yeah, I want to be a member.
right,
And we let them be a member.
Right.
So they go through a little bit of a vetting process, like Bob said. And then, once that's all done, there's a $25 application fee, and then we vote on it upstairs if we want them, they read a little bit about them and who's proposing them, right? And then we vote to say, are they gonna come in or not? Then the next step is, we actually have to have it posted on our bulletin board for 30 days, because in case anybody wasn't at the meeting
right.
or didn't know who's up and coming, so that they can say, oh, I know this person, I don't think they should, if we have reason to believe they shouldn't be a member. And then once you get past that point, we have something called indoctrination, which I think is really excellent. We have a membership committee man who comes and talks to you, and he brings you in, and you get to watch a video on the beginning of the Elks and everything they stand for. They have a lady elk now that comes in from the Ladies Auxiliary, and they kind of give you an idea of what we do, and here's what you're getting into, so that you feel more comfortable going into it.
That part was fantastic for me, because this is what the Elk stands for.
Yeah.
This is what all we do.
Yeah.
This is the benefits for you in this organization, and I'm a camper. And so that was one of the, well, and that brings up a whole other thing.
It does.
I say camping, that's part of it, but, and we'll go over that in a second.
Yeah.
But to back up a bit, if I'm a member of one of the organizations that's military, okay, and I'm not military, I'm a social member, that's right.
We do not have social membership.
Right, so I can't go to another place other than where I signed up.
Correct.
Okay? Like the VFW, something like that, or the NVETS or whatever. I can't go to another one anywhere, really, unless I'll go in as a guest, I guess, okay? That's not how you guys are. You guys are different, which is really neat, because I've been to the Elks down in Ocean City, Maryland, and it's so, it's as welcoming as this place.
Yeah.
You walk in there, and the people are so kind. And like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on? They don't ignore you.
It's
They
like
don't
a
put your nose up.
camaraderie, right? Everybody, they're so welcoming to everybody. I've been to a lot of the Elks lodges all around the United States.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Everybody's welcoming, and then they know you're visiting,
Yeah.
so they want to do everything for you. They take you on a tour and show you the place. And,
Yeah, and they're not getting anything out of it.
No.
I mean,
No.
like, by the time we left there, the first time we were in there, we had a guy like, yeah, we want to buy you guys,
Yep.
you and your wife drinks.
Yep.
I was like, no, we're good, but thank you. I mean, that is amazing.
They usually do.
We just did a bus trip in October. Went down to South Jersey and we visited 8 different Elks lodges. Oh, it was so much fun.
That would be
And they had, every place we went, they had a spread of food that, we were so full.
When they know you're coming.
And it was really neat to.
We've done bus trips like that before, but if you work with the lodges ahead of time and say, hey, I have a bus, we have like 15 people, that are gonna come, we're gonna get there around noon, and a lot of times they'll say, well, we'll provide lunch. And they'll have something there for you to eat, everybody gets like one free drink or something, and they usually have something fun, or they tell their members come out, we had a busload come here from Connecticut not too long ago, and they wanted us to have dinner for them, so we had this all planned, and then a lot of the members just came just to visit with them, talk to them, and they had a blast. It was a lot of fun. It really is. So if you join the Elks, you can go to any Elks lodge in the United States.
And there's so many.
And there's 2,100
And
in
they're
the
all-
United States.
And they're all different.
Yeah,
They have
everyone's different.
the same beliefs,
Yes,
everything else.
yes,
The
yes.
buildings and the venues, you
Yep.
go down,
Yep.
Ocean City is different than here.
Well, some
It's
have golf
different.
clubs.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they have pools, there's all kinds of things that they have. All of them are different. It's amazing, it's amazing.
And if you go on the Elks website, there's Elks clubs that have campgrounds.
Yeah, well, that's what brought me, I was
Wanted to
jumping
get to-
ahead a
yes,
minute,
yes.
and I brought it back down again, but they have
Yes.
campsites.
They have campsites and it's by donation.
A lot of them are by donation.
Yeah.
Some of them have a set fee for the night, but there are a lot of them that if you're camping, you can go stay at and you can give by donation. We actually have 3 campsites out here
Oh, on this property.
on this property, but people that live here or belong to this lodge can't be camping out there. That's not the way it works.
Right, yeah.
It's for visiting, it's for
Yeah.
visiting Elks. But you wouldn't believe the people we get from all over the United States. And they love it. I mean, they come up and then they say, how much is it? We said it's by donation. And I'll tell you, people are really generous.
I met a guy
Especially
here,
during COVID.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
the one of the couple that we met here were from California.
Yeah.
And they came here, at Elks all the way
Yeah.
through, and they got here, and they ended up staying in this area, and I think they had family or something
Yeah,
here,
they
but
do.
this is one of the places they stayed,
Yeah.
and, it's pretty cool.
And a lot of people
COVID
come
was a
back.
big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People going, like snowbirds that are heading down to Florida, a lot of times from the northeastern,
Yeah.
they come down through and they come every year,
Yeah.
and then they like it. They think it's great. But yeah, that's one of our features too. People really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We had a couple from California last year that stayed here, 3 months? And they
I think that's the ones I'm talking about.
could be.
They really liked it, yeah. Yeah, people like it, and then they say it's such a beautiful property, That's-
Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah, you
And
can
it's
come out and
back
take a
off the
walk.
road.
It's really, it's really nice. It is.
Yeah.
It's
Very
very
good.
nice.
Well,
I guess
do you have
that's it.
anything else?
I think that's everything on my
Talk
list.
about the organization, how you join, and all the benefits, and
Yes.
everything that you're doing, and where you're at in your hours.
Yep.
What are your hours?
orders? Yeah.
Oh.
What are your hours?
We are not open on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays and Tuesdays we're closed. Wednesday, well, I'll just kind of tell you what we have. Wednesday night, we have a shuffleboard league, short board. And it's taco night on Wednesdays, and I think they're open from
4 to 10.
4 to 10.
And is that public too?
Yep. Anybody can come in.
Okay.
Like I said, what'll
Now,
happen
do you
is,
you have anybody can come in to eat or drink non-alcoholic beverages without needing to be signed in? Is that correct? Or you need?
We still sign them in.
Okay.
we
okay.
still sign you in. If like you would walk in the door and I didn't know you and you said, I'd like to get something to eat, and I'd like to see what the Elks is about, I'd say, okay, I'll sign you in.
Okay.
And then I'll probably talk to you a little bit, get you settled, you can sit and drink, you can do whatever, it's like you're a
Right.
member for the night.
And is there, and I think, and this came up the other day for some reason, but if somebody comes in as a guest, you can only get signed in so many times till you're supposed to join, or?
That's,
Those are kind of the old world rules.
Okay, I mean, and
Years ago.
I don't think,
No,
I've
years-
heard of that at other places, but I don't know that it's actually really enforced at all.
Years ago, it was enforced.
yeah.
It was
Okay.
enforced very, well, that's because you had people who wanted to take advantage.
Yeah,
Like you'd have somebody who would come in here, let's say 2 times a week, and then they don't want to join. They're just gonna think they can come in here 2
Right.
times a week
Yeah.
and just have the benefits of what the members are paying for.
right,
So, if you come in and say, I'm just gonna check it out, we're not gonna say, oh, if you come back 2 more times, you have to join.
Right.
But we like it if you would be
well,
interested and
yeah,
want
the
to join.
ultimate thing is if
Sure,
you're gonna make this
sure.
your home.
Right.
Join.
And I wanna go back to so Thursday nights we're open from 4 to 10 also,
No, 4 to 11.
4 to 11, and we have cash bingo. It's like a bar bingo. Lots of fun. People really enjoy it. My favorite part is that you're sitting in the bar room playing bingo and having a drink and eating,
Yeah.
and everybody's talking, and it's not like
It's
going
not
to
hardcore.
it's not like going to the hardcore bingo hall. And then
We also have pool league.
pool
And
league.
some Thursday nights, this place is packed.
Yep, they shoot pool. Friday nights we always have 2 dinner specials. They're delicious. We have a great chef. Saturday nights, it kind of varies. We have Frankie and the Jammers some Saturday nights. We have open jukebox nights. We have
Yeah,
special
right.
stuff going
Game
on all the
nights,
time.
yeah.
Game nights. And then Sunday nights is cash bingo again. Thursdays and Sundays are our cash bingo.
Yeah, little learning curve on that, and I still haven't figured it all out yet, but when.
He's obviously a bingo virgin.
No, yeah, I am, absolutely. When we're sitting at the bar and everybody's playing bingo, and then they say I-11, everybody, you know.
Oh, B11.
B11.
Oh, is it B11? B11.
See,
B11, everybody chimes in,
We
like,
have a little choir.
yeah,
well,
what,
there's, I remember when I was a kid, I used to play at the Denver
just
Barrel. Like, I'd walk from my house, and like, I don't know, it's either G or O, 55, speed limit.
Yep.
Or, you know, there's a name for every number.
People come up, somebody asked me, how do you learn this bingo
Yeah.
lingo? And I said, you just be here enough, you'll learn
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And it's just-
it was fun, it was funny.
Everybody laughs.
Yeah, what
Because
was-
sometimes the bingo caller, when he goes to do it, like he knows that for BB11, well, B11, we always say BB11, and it's kind of like a whole, everybody in the room does it.
Yes, it gets quiet, everybody
Yeah.
chimes in, like, did I miss
But it's
something?
funny,
What just happened here?
sometimes when the bingo caller pulls the number, he'll say, okay, choir, that's what he says. And everybody knows what
Right.
he's gonna say, you know, so we always have fun with, and it's
It
not
was-
every number, but there's
No.
about
It
maybe
was fun.
5 or 6 that we do.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden,
No, I
when
remember
I
that
chimed
when I
in,
was a
I
kid.
thought, do we have to jump up and do a song? And I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I forgot about that.
No, you stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. So like, I was sitting there like,
Now you know though, next time you go, if you play bingo, you wanna come play sometime?
Oh, it's fun.
22 and 44.
Yeah, we have, 44. People always say quack, quack when
Oh,
you have
yeah.
a 44, because it looks like duck bills.
Okay.
So now they started, South Clear Blue, 22 is half of 44, so now they say quack. We get 1 quack for that and 2 of them for 44.
So that bingo lingo is pretty much location specific, not that.
Some of it, some of it,
yeah.
Yeah, that's just
well,
us having
yeah.
fun.
Point being, it is a lot of fun.
It is, it is. Everybody laughs and
We
carries
have a
on.
couple that, they love the number 69.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like-
well,
Choir.
Yeah. So we joke about that.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably like 6 or 7 numbers that we
Yeah,
do, or
that's
you
all.
know, not the whole time, but it's just, it adds fun. And the one thing that's nice being in this setting to have bingo, it's kind of like everybody just talks across the room, you know, or we joke and everybody's getting along and having fun. When you sit in one of those bingo halls,
You're not allowed
I
to
always
talk.
feel like I'm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
better
know,
not talk.
yeah, don't talk, somebody's gonna tell me to shut up or something, you know. But when you're here doing it, it's just, there's such camaraderie.
Yeah.
It's just this great
Yeah.
feeling of friendship and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, people make fun of Bob, you know.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's a cheers atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. It's a cheer. That's what I always tell people. Because when you walk in the door sometimes, you know, everybody says, hey, Kari. I'm like, I feel like Norm.
Yeah.
It's that feeling.
What I like is not everybody knows me, and I'll walk in here and they will immediately say hi.
Yeah.
They don't put their nose up, they
Yeah.
just immediately look at you,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing?
I saw a
Very
couple,
friendly.
here's a good example. We were having dinner in here last Friday night, and I saw a young couple come in with 2 kids. And they sat at a table and they looked terrified. You know, they just kind of were looking around. So I walked over and I just introduced myself and I said, hey, I said, welcome to the Elks, you know. And I asked them how they heard about us, and, you know, and they were so excited.
Yeah.
And and she said, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. You
Well,
know,
yeah, and that's all it
I just
takes.
kind of told them
Yeah.
stuff about the specials and kind of how things operate, and they were so thrilled. I'm sure they'll be back.
Yeah,
I think they'll come back.
that's neat, you know, so many of them don't do that. They don't take that time to be nice, and your customers, your members are so nice that,
Well, you feel, I know how
It
people
really
feel.
is.
I know how I felt the first time I walked in. I was
Oh,
like,
right, yeah.
oh my.
Yeah.
And I'm usually not going
I
person.
used to feel like that all the time. Now it doesn't bug me. I'll go in anyway,
Right,
and I really
right.
don't care.
But-
But
Depending
no, I
on,
know what you're
You know,
saying.
yeah. I
All it
think
takes is a nice little
hey, oh, that's what it is, you
Yeah.
know, it's just
a
somebody.
nod of your head or
that's-
hey, how you doing? You know, you don't have to give them your life story.
Yeah. Yeah. All of the members here, I think, are pretty warming up to
Yeah.
me. They're always like, you know, they'll introduce. If I see somebody come in and nobody's helping them, I always go over and ask, you know, what can we do? Are you here to, you know, do you want to sit down? You know,
Right.
but everybody's very receptive to
And
it.
I like to have a lot of officers in place, and I see almost, every time I'm in here,
Yeah.
there's usually at least one officer here somewhere, which is very comforting to know, like, okay, it's, you know.
Yeah, we're always trying to, we
Yeah.
try to all work together. You know, it's hard
Yeah.
sometimes when you have.
Carrie's our concierge.
I do, they always tell me I'm the welcoming committee. But, well, it's funny because there was a couple sitting across the bar just not too long ago, and I looked over and I said, you guys look really familiar. Have I met you before? And they said, yep, the first time we came here, you came and talked to us and made us feel so welcome.
Okay. Well,
I
actually,
thought
I
that
gotta
was
say,
really-
well, I was only ever in this dining room one time, a couple weeks ago with Paul and his wife, a great supper. And my wife had cleaned one of Paul's rental properties before he sold it, and he paid her more than she felt he should have. So she said, okay, well, while we're here, I'm gonna use this money you just gave me, and we're paying for the whole table. So I walked up to the bar and I said to our waitress, I said, hey, before you tally that up, just put it all on my tab. And she said, well, I did that anyway because you're the only person I knew the name of at the table. And I was
Your reputation precedes you.
Apparently it does.
Might be the neckerchief of the hat.
It might be that. I do not have a sign at the post office.
Yes.
Yeah, that I know of.
Something that we didn't discuss, when Reading merged with us, they brought their charity to us. Do you want to explain that? Because you know more about it than.
Well, yeah, I only know, it's not, we're not completely, there's a lot going on yet financially that we have to get resolved with merging with somebody. It's not just a snap of the fingers and we're merged. But they have, back in the day, you know, Bob said when they got their charter, like 18, whatever, Ingersoll Rand, which is a big name.
Right.
I guess Ingersoll was a member of the Reading Lodge, and in his will, he started a foundation, or it's called a Crippled Kitties Fund, with Reading. And all of this money from this trust, well, from his thing, comes into this trust, which is the Reading, Ephrata Reading Elks Lodge now. And there's a lot of money in there. And that money is earmarked. It has to go to local hospitals. Recently, we donated money to the new Penn State, what is it called? Penn State Medicine, or Penn Medicine. The one that was just built at 283 and State Road.
Yeah.
So their pediatric playroom will have a thing that says, you know, donated, whatever, Ephrata Reading Elks Lodge number 115.
Now when Reading and you merged, does Reading, their building, like they don't have a lodge there anymore?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, they didn't have, I guess most of their members were older, and I don't think they worked at trying to get younger members in. A lot of them passed away.
Okay.
So they had a building at one time, but they couldn't keep it going.
Okay.
So they closed the place down and sold the building. So they still had their lodge, they still had what we would call, you know, the Elks members, but they didn't have a place to go.
Yeah.
So they held meetings and they still tried to do charitable, but eventually that gets a little rough, you know.
Yeah,
So
they were actually holding meetings in the hospital.
Yeah,
down there.
the Reading Hospital
Yeah.
would let them use a room because they donated so much money to
And
it.
how did you here in Ephrata get to be the lodge they picked
merged
to
with?
merge with?
Well, they try to pick the closest
Oh,
lodge.
so you are
But,
the
well,
closest.
there's one in Pottstown.
Oh,
So it's about, Reading was about in the middle between Pottstown and Ephrata. And they chose Ephrata.
okay. I mean, I just would have thought maybe there's a Robizonia lodge.
No.
Right.
No, there's not.
Okay.
So it was between Ephrata and Pottstown, and one of the husband and wives, I think, in Reading that's very involved in the Elks, they preferred to come here. They said they felt this was a, you know, like the
Probably
one
a
in
little-
Pottstown doesn't have the grounds.
Yeah.
It's not as large as this one.
And it was a vote from their members.
Oh, yeah, their members had to,
Where
yes.
they wanted to go.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
wasn't just, no, we're going there.
Right,
It's-
okay.
It was a vote.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of stuff you have to vote on.
Now, how many of them come up here since you changed? I mean,
Well, now, yeah, like I said, they only had 80 members, I think.
and
You know.
they're elderly.
Yeah, and a lot of them were elderly.
Probably about 8 coming.
Yeah, there might be,
8, 10.
there might be
Okay.
8 to 10 that have started coming more, you know,
Uh,
to different events.
But there's quite a few that are down in Florida now.
Oh,
They had their membership here,
okay,
but they live down there.
okay.
So it's cheaper here to get a membership than it is in some of these.
Now, speaking of memberships, and this came up at our Thanksgiving thing yesterday, my wife's dad, or whenever, way back, joined the Elks here in Ephrata. Then for many years, they lived upstate, and he was a member of the Elks Lodge, whatever it is, up near Troy in Rutherford County. And then they moved back down about 6 years ago, and he hasn't done anything he kept paying his membership up there, but hasn't been up there. What would he, being a current member at an Elk somewhere, have to do to transfer it here?
Just contact us.
And,
Our
So
secretary.
there's not a whole lot of.
No, what would happen is he would contact our secretary and say that he'd like to transfer from whatever lodge it is to our lodge. And now she has some paperwork to do then, like she has to get a hold of his lodge, make sure that he's an upstanding
Yeah.
member. We're not gonna bring him in if he's, you know.
Right, no.
So like they make sure that he's a paid member and that he's an upstanding citizen. And as long as that lodge is okay with transferring him, they do all the paperwork. I think there might be a fee of $15 or
Yeah.
something.
No,
to-
like just a transfer.
Yeah, just a transfer.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty simple
Okay.
overall.
What would happen if he didn't, like in the last 5 years, was
lapse, like he
Didn't
wouldn't pay.
pay 5 years worth, only because he wasn't going anymore, and he kind of got wrapped up in whatever else he was
Right,
doing.
and that does-
And I
that
don't
does
know him.
happen.
I don't know.
It does happen.
I mean,
It does
that's-
happen.
So
What I understand is they never, they always paid.
So then we have something called reinstatement,
Right.
where somebody has to come back in. So a lot of times in that situation, sometimes they have to go through the whole process again, basically. It depends on, I don't know, I guess there's a lot of factors. We've had a couple people that we've done this
Right.
with, where we've reinstated them.
Well, it goes down to a vote again.
Okay,
Everything's voted on.
yeah,
Like if they would say, let's just say, for example, if he just, didn't pay, maybe they had financial situation or something.
right.
Then they might handle it a little differently and say, okay, we understand, but you probably should have called your Elk Lodge and told them that you were
Right.
having financial, because sometimes
All right.
we'll pay dues for somebody if they're having,
okay.
financial
Yeah.
situation or health issues. Some of our members are in nursing homes. A lot of times we'll pay their dues, because we know that they're.
Just to keep them up.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
we don't want them to think
Right.
that somebody turned against them or,
Yeah.
so we make sure that they're still, we have a lady,
What's that thing called where you can put your,
Demit.
the
Sometimes people can say, like, if he knew he wasn't gonna, you could say, I'd like to go and demit, that's what they call it, which means you're not gonna be paying your dues for a while and you're not gonna be here. Like, let's just say you went away for a couple
Right.
years or
Right,
something.
yeah.
Then when you come back, you can kind of come out of demit, whatever you
Okay.
wanna call it.
Yeah.
So there's all different situations.
Okay.
In this situation, I believe it's just a
It's just,
transfer, you don't
yeah,
have to worry about
okay,
that.
and that's what we sort of thought. that-
And he should,
Well,
I mean, if he
yeah.
doesn't go up there,
Well,
he
right.
should transfer.
Well, no, he, I don't know how much he would actually come here, but I think he would like to be a member.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, because he's been a member.
And Kari said we pay some of the people that are in nursing homes. What people don't understand is it's like, I think, a 3-tier membership fee. We get some, the state gets some, and the Grand Lodge gets some. So they're not paying, their dues aren't coming all to us.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
people have to understand that, because
Yeah.
sometimes they say, your dues are expensive. Right
Well,
now,
I gotta
Our
be,
dues-
that's,
our
honest to
dues-
God, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
he said he joined and whatever, and here's what it cost me. Man, that's a lot
Well,
more than a
it
VFW.
it is.
Well,
And there's the difference. The VFW, the Legion, and the EVETs all have social memberships, which is different.
which is what I.
It's a social club,
Yeah.
right? But we are a private club, so
Okay,
it's a little bit different. Our dues are $90, but the $90 doesn't come just to us.
Right.
So much of it goes to the Grand Lodge to help with these national scholarships and all kinds of things like
Yeah.
that. And then there's we pay a state set portion too. It's only a portion of that actually
yeah,
comes here.
no, and I get
But
that.
some people get really upset about that, but I said, if you're gonna
But I was in that club.
if you're gonna come in on a regular basis, there are some benefits, with the cheaper drinks, the
Right,
cheaper food. There are some benefits to it at the same time.
Yeah,
One of the organizations, we pay our state association. Pennsylvania, every state in the United States has a home association. Pennsylvania has 22 nurses that go around and take care of young handicapped kids.
Yeah. It's called home services.
okay, yeah.
And that comes out of the money that we send to state
Oh,
association.
okay.
The parents don't pay nothing.
It's amazing.
The Elks pays for that,
Yeah,
to take care of these
The
young
Elks
So sort
employs-
of, in a much lesser sense, but very important sense, sort of like St. Jude's Hospital.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Elks employ 22 nurses in the state of Pennsylvania. And if you know someone, usually it started out with children, like crippled children or people that, but these nurses would go there every day, and basically it didn't cost the families anything.
yeah.
They would take care of these children. And plus, another thing is that these nurses would also work with them on paperwork with the state, or, to help
get
them how to
grants
get
or-
grants or aid or whatever they
Yeah, because
needed.
when you already got this situation,
Right.
and the last thing you want to do is be
Right.
burdened with
Yeah.
filling out a bunch of stuff you're not even sure what
So
to do.
home
with.
services for us is a big, once a year they have a convention, and they actually name a child of the year.
Oh, okay.
And then they get to come to the convention, and it's really cool. They do like a little parade
Yeah.
with the nurses. It's really something. Nobody
Yeah.
realizes.
If you've never seen it,
Oh, yeah.
you don't believe it.
Right.
But, when I was up at the convention up in Harrisburg, and this young girl came on, and it's like, she was so thankful.
Yeah.
And it was neat.
Well, they get to know their nurses,
Yeah.
and, it means a lot.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
that-
so the Elks
and-
actually employs these
Well, and again,
nurses.
I'm sure, I'm going to guess 99% of the people who listen to this, assuming somebody does, isn't going to know about that.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I didn't know
There's
about
so
that.
many things that people don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd like people to come visit and see what we're about.
Yeah.
You know.
That, you say that the fees are higher, right? Okay, the membership is higher. I got no problem paying for that because Joe Klepchak came in and explained to this group of us new members exactly where all this money goes. And
Well, that
this
is
is
a big difference.
it is. It's a
I mean, if I just
nonprofit.
knew
It's
you
not
guys
like,
are
yeah, it's not like
pocketing it, it's
yeah,
one
you're
thing.
gonna put it in
Yeah.
your pocket and you're gonna go out for a great dinner on the new membership that just came in.
No.
No, this all goes back to the community. So
No,
if you're a
that's-
person who wants to help the community, like this is a total win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot. I actually have this paper here that they gave to us, which says from the year 2021 through 2022, because I told you when our fiscal year is. It says what we did. It says the grand total is $795,470. And those are scholarships given in Pennsylvania for most valuable student, what I told you, and legacy awards. Then we have our ENF, which is called our Elks National Foundation, but we have the home services, we have drug awareness, soccer shoot, hoop shoot, all of these things that and then the community investments. Those are the grants that they give out for different
Right.
things that we want to do that with, in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's exciting. It's
So
really
that's,
exciting.
that's just the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You could go way more than that on a national.
Sure. It's amazing.
All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up there.
Okay,
And
perfect.
you guys did a super
Oh,
job.
super job. That's great.
I know you were a little nervous in the beginning, but you
Got better.
melted out. You melted out as we went along. That was great.
she's used to talking.
Well, all it did is you just got to break the ice, and then it's
Yeah.
just like you're hanging out with friends.
It
So,
got
yeah.
better.
And you're passionate about what you do when you start
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
no,
Once
and,
once you start talking about,
All right, I am going to bid you farewell. I'm going to shut this off, and then we'll be off the air.
Till next time.
Yeah, whenever that is, next week.